The idea behind a Celtic cross is that it should actually spin. Okay, so it spins on 2 occasions
I mean,
now.
that image is just going to blow people away. Because we've all been seeing this thing in stone.
Well, they see it as a gravestone,
Yeah.
and it's put on a grave for a purpose.
Yeah.
Those that were Gnostic or knowledgeable put it on the grave as an instrument for people to navigate their way to heaven, and heaven is the stars, of course.
Now, I see a very historical link there. You use the word Gnostic.
Yes.
And this has become a Celtic symbol to us.
Yes.
And of course, the Celtic Church,
Yes.
we know probably came from early Gnostics or Essene.
Yes.
So this is some kind of hidden wisdom, maybe.
It's a hidden wisdom, an ancient one that I can trace back at least 36,000 years.
36,000 years?
Yes, and it had to do with hunter-gatherers. You need to tell the time to be able to navigate, and to navigate you need to be able to use the stars, as the Polynesians have proven. At the top of here we have a symbol which they call the fleur-de-lis, which is on the top of all navigational sea charts, and it's quite ancient. It goes way back. In fact, they've got one in the Vatican. But that's similar, if you look, to this symbol here, which is the Aryan symbol,
yes,
for Aries,
yeah.
okay, and called point of Aries, at the rising point of the sun. The Aries hook is made of bronze because it's reflective, and it's perfect for viewing the stars. And so what they would have done, one observer at night, so as not to obscure their eyes, would have lit a dim light or torch in the background and been able to hold this against the stars.
The Dixon relic, then, where are we saying
The Dixon relic would have been fitted to the top of the spar. So, in effect, what you have is...
holds the line of the plumb.
Perfectly holds the line of the plumb. There has been no finding of an inclinometer until I reinterpreted the Dixon relics of 1872.
So not only have you patented the Celtic cross,
yes,
twice,
yes,
you've reinterpreted what the Celtic cross is,
yes,
did,
yes,
and even the sacred nature of that. You've
yes,
now basically explained how they managed to create something so incredibly accurate as the Great Pyramid at Giza.
yes.
The circle becomes a sacred space, and here's the sacredness. And here, I think, is where some of the original knowledge lies, because the circle represents time. It represents that kind of fixed versus chaos. It represents, as you said, good and bad. If you look at the kind of structure of the church, it maintains the same structure, doesn't
Yes.
it?
Yes, it does.
The knowledge of fertility, the knowledge of cycles, the knowledge of why procreation is important to be done at particular times of the year as opposed to any time you like.
Why do we think in medieval maps or charts it says in the Atlantic Ocean, here be dragons? That's to keep people away from the trade routes. Why would you give away your knowledge? And they didn't give away their knowledge, they kept it. This was only for initiates, it was only for royalty, it was only for priests.
They were an absolutely phenomenal order, and they were suppressed under charges of heresy. There was a massive wave of arrest that started on October the 13th, 1307. Friday the 13th, unlucky for some, they claimed that that saying came from the arrest of the Templars. And they were suppressed by the Pope, not convicted of heresy, oddly enough, but because they had fallen into disrepute. And they disappeared from plain sight at that point. Their records were suppressed or stolen, we're not quite sure which. And that has left a sort of vacuum of information which has been filled by every fantasist in the business. And they've been writing about the Templars in bizarre terms for nearly 200 years now. In reality, although the Templars were ostensibly a Christian order, they were heretical in the extreme. And they had been formed as a result of a family conspiracy which involved people whose antecedents stretched back over 1,000 years before the foundation of the Templar order. And families who still exert considerable influence today, and who, several centuries after the suppression of the Templars, played an instrumental role in the foundation of another controversial order, the Worldwide Brotherhood of Freemasonry. There was also a period where the Knights of Malta were under investigation by the Inquisition because of their membership of several leading members of the order within the ranks of Freemasonry. The point of that secret society, the point of alchemy, the point of the search for the Holy Grail, which is inextricably linked with the Knights Templar, is it's all about a pathway of spiritual transformation, which of course immediately places those who follow it outside the remit of the Church and classes them as heresy.
The Knights Templars were formed ostensibly to protect pilgrims en route. It's very odd that such a small group could actually do such an enormous job. Maybe that was just their motive, their way of getting in, because it may well be they were looking for something and they wanted access to the holy places of Jerusalem. And they were seeking something in Jerusalem, near the temple site, because they had information. They were outside the mainstream of Christianity in the sense that they sought an area where the Cathars were already established. And the Cathars had a dualistic, aesthetic, and a reverence for Mary Magdalene and John the Baptist too. It looks like if you track that back to the origins, that must have come from some original concepts of Gnosticism, the sort of reverence for Solomon's temple coming through in their architecture and through into Freemasonry. I mean, I happen to believe that there's a lineage between the Templars and Freemasonry. One of the other things that the Templars found is treasure. Copper Scroll is one of the scrolls found at Qumran in Cave 3 in 1952. And it's an engraved list of buried treasure. Unbelievably, incredibly.
And have we got any further with the Copper Scroll in the last few years?
Well, I have.
Do tell. Have you found any treasure?
Well, yes. I mean, I do identify... Yes, I've held treasure that's described in the Copper Scroll in my hand.
Incredible.